Olebogeng Kgosilentswe, who is standing by. Olebogeng, good evening to you. I mean, it's been a day of high drama in Mahikeng. First he was going, then, oops, actually, no, he wasn't.
A day of drama indeed, Bongi. I mean, people were in high spirits yesterday, last night when he spoke to SABC News, saying that by midday today he would be the former Premier of the Northwest Premier, only to retract that statement later, stating that he had actually made that comment on SABC News before having had spoken to the PEC. And, you know, we saw quite a lot of supporters, particularly from the Bojanala region of the province, ANC supporters, showing a lot of support for him and, you know, saying that the PEC today must decline or refuse his resignation. And indeed, that's exactly what happened. Following the meeting of the PEC, he then addressed the masses separate from the PEC, you know, just stating up the things that he's still going to do in the weeks to follow as the Premier of the Northwest. So it's quite, you know, an unstable, if I may put it that way, situation here in the province where people are not sure whether or not he will leave at all, or whether or not he will remain as Premier, and until what time or until what date will that happen?
I mean, just talk me through some of this detail, Olebogeng. He is the chairperson of the PEC in that province. He's also going to be the one to appoint an acting replacement. I mean, will any of this be bought by people outside his particular faction of the ANC in the province?
You know, the decision, the Deputy Secretary, Susan Dankie, made it very clear that going forward, Supra Mahumapelo remains the Premier of the Northwest Province, and that all of the decisions that, you know, a Premier must take will be taken by him, particularly that of appointing the acting Premier. There are no dates set. It'll all be his decision. And obviously, if it's his decision, he has the prerogative to appoint whoever he feels fit to hold office while he is still on leave. So that is also going to be interesting to see. You know, the deputy chairperson of the ANC did not want to step on his territory as to, you know, give us time frames or give us any idea of who this new acting premier is likely to be. So we are yet again waiting on Premier Mahumapelo to give us the direction and to give us who will lead, to tell us about who will lead the province in his absence while the interministerial task team resolves its issues and finalizes its work. And we also don't know how long that will take, because Ms. Susan Dankie said that for as long as the interministerial task team has not concluded its work, then the Premier, the now Premier, Supra Mahumapelo, will not be coming back to the office. But they were very stern in saying that, you know, nobody in the ANC structures instructed him to resign, and therefore that they regret any inconvenience that has been caused by his resignation about 20 hours ago. Bongi?
It's a very interesting one because, of course, they're saying all those things, but at the same time, Mahumapelo was at pains to say that the national leadership cannot be acting on the basis of untested allegations, really throwing it back to Luthuli House, throwing it back to the National Working Committee. So yes, the ministerial task team must complete its work, but really sending a message that he is certainly not going down without a fight.
Definitely, he is relentless. He is steadfast. You know, he is not giving in. He is adamant that if there is any corruption or any wrongdoing that he has done, it must be first proven. You know, that you cannot just on the basis of rumors say that this person must now vacate his position, that of such a high position even, you know, so that he says processes must be followed, and that if indeed he is found guilty in a court of law of any corruption or any wrongdoing while he was still premier, then of course he will gladly vacate his office. But for as long as there is no such proof from a court of law, then he doesn't see any reason why he should resign. So he's definitely throwing it back to the national leadership of the ANC and perhaps back to the president to say, so, you know, what will you do now, since there's nothing proving that I am guilty of any of these wrongdoings that I'm being accused of.
All right, we'll leave it there with Olebogeng Kgosilentswe, our reporter in Mahikeng, keeping an eye on that situation. For now, it does appear that Premier Supra Mahumapelo is staying put, and it really raises some questions about intra-party democratic processes. We'll be bringing you some analysis on what the next moves might be throughout the evening.